Hey YouTube, what's up? Guys, I want to thank you so much for the 211 subscribers, or that's the number on the screen that I look at YouTube Studio that it's telling me the current subscriber count at the moment. And I want to thank every single one of you before I start this video. But I also would like to say is that I also wanted to look at the situation. I'm trying to fix my chair here. It's just, there we go. Feel a little bit more comfortable. I just felt like our next goal, if not 500, 1,000 subscribers. The reason why I say that, friends, is that if you want to continue to support me, and I mean like really support me, could we please try to reach at least 1,000? The reason being is that I want to do YouTube full time, and that always has been a goal of mine. But I realized that the more I do this, the more I want to connect with you guys. I want to start doing live streams, talk about magic, talk about things within, this book that I have, this book of shadows. And though I won't touch, very important personal magical skills and things that I've developed, but I still would like to open that up and just share what I've learned throughout my many years, even though I'm doing it anyway. But we all know that silence is golden when it comes to our magical craft. So therefore, you could still teach about magic and you can still teach about what you do on a personal level, but there are certain things you will leave out because that's just how things work when it comes to the magical community. But I know, like, that's my next step. I want to do more, and I just hope that you guys are with me. And it seems as if that you are. You like the content, you love the meditations and things of that nature. That's great. So let's continue to basically just move towards that goal, perhaps at the ending of this year. And I think that's a good realistic point of view, so that I could do this full time. All right. Now, with that said and done, we got all the formalities out the way. I thought it would be so beneficial if we talk a little bit about something that's different. What I mean by that is the title of this video. It's really about speaking about the paranormal, the supernatural. Even though they're two different subjects, they are sometimes confused with one another. Like supernatural would be like, this is just a brief explanation. Supernatural would be talking about like a deity, like that of a Yahweh figure, and trying to prove its existence. Or better yet, you can't really prove its existence because the metrics or the measurements that we have as far as technology, we can't do it. So therefore it will be supernatural, right? And that claim would be harder to prove because if you say a Yahweh figure has spoken to you or whatever, then it's still, we're not saying that the evidence that you provide for the supernatural is not authentic. We would hope that it's authentic, but it will still be what is called antidote or anecdotal evidence, which means it's testimonial evidence. It's not like it's bad evidence. It's evidence that is still hold very seriously in court, but it's just one of those things that you would have to really take on faith and belief in order to see if what they're saying is absolutely true, or if you have a bunch of other eyewitnesses to see if it's just collaborating with one another, and you could go from there. Whereas the paranormal is something that you can measure. That's why we have the equipment as far as the EMF and so forth to detect the deceased loved ones that we have that are sometimes surrounding us, and we could measure and test that. And even though that's still under scrutiny when it comes to scientists, and even if you're not a scientist and you're trying to see if it's true or not, it's very difficult to really believe it, even though technology can in fact detect it. Even though sometimes it's not always visible, but they can't interact with one another. But that's the point of this video. We're going to talk about that because I have to tell you that I've been saying this for a while, but I've been really, I guess, scared, I guess. Maybe that's not the proper word, but I've been holding myself back by saying this, but I won't say that it is definitive because I need more proof, but I still feel that I should at least bring it out there to share this information with you on my journey, right? So it's subjective, and at the same time, it is antidote. So therefore, we're going to talk about aliens. And the reason why I say that is because in my experiences, I realize that the older I get and the more I experience things, I have to tell you, like, there's been like really weird shit going on. Like the synchronicities and the fact that I'm able to see these lights in the sky, and it's really far out because it's like when I go to like YouTube or I go to Netflix and I'm looking at how they're able to look at things, right? As far as, let's say, aliens are concerned, ancient aliens and whatever, it's like the information's out there, but if you're like myself and you have these experiences, you have no other place to go to other than these other forums or the internet in order to express yourself. But from my experience, there is no real distinction between aliens and then what we talk about in the occult. Because I remember many years ago, you probably heard me say this, that I started out in the occult, or in Satanism in particular. Even though I'm not a Satanist now, I'm in the occult and I'm still in the left-hand path. So in other words, I work with demons, but I don't like to limit myself by saying I'm a Satanist or I a Luciferian. I'd rather look at all groups and go, what have I learned from these other groups? Hence, I could also look at the belief or the idea of extraterrestrials. Because going back to where I came from when it comes to the joy of Satan, I realized that what Maxine was teaching at that time, to me, I was like kind of fishy about it. I didn't know how to take it. Like, for example, human beings mining for gold, and Enki is really Satan, and Enel, his brother, who is Azazel or something like that, and they're trying to help mankind. It's like, now that I'm older, I can see that's not too far off from the truth. Because as I've been testing out what it is and still gathering proof on what I believe in aliens, I started to take the whole experience of seeing these strange lights and their formations and things of that nature, and realizing how far back does that go as far as my experience. And it goes back as far as when I was a child. These things have always been happening, but I never really connected the dots. And again, holding myself back for all these years, because how would other people perceive me to be? But now that I have a platform and I deal with the occult, that I feel it's time for me to just pop out and be like, hey, look, this is something that I'm not trying to change your beliefs or other beliefs that we have, or the demonic beliefs or whatever. It's perspective. And the perspective that I have on it is, I see the potentiality of it because I personally experienced it. And I don't think that it's far off that extraterrestrial have come down to Earth and they try to experiment with mankind, to look at the human genome, its DNA, and modify us. Because if you think about the Neanderthals of the time, that is before Homo sapien have came on the earth, or they're a different type of Homo sapien, with elongated heads, if you will, the larger skull. And you see the process of the millennia that mankind has been on this earth. You can see the various differences of how the human mind and the physiology of the human beings have evolved over time without the modification of the human DNA. Now, of course, people are going to think that's nothing but bunk and it's science fiction, and I get that. But when you actually look at, you have other noteworthy individuals like Mr. Willis from his channel, The Fifth Kind, and others who are just like Carl Reagan, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce these names, but of course, as I edit this video, you're going to see the correct spelling and so forth and so forth. But these ones they are authors, they've written books, and they are scientists. They have delved deep within this subject to put forth the information for you and I to at least to doubt what history has taught us. Just like I doubt the fact that, even for myself, if I have experienced these formation lights and them zooming up and down the sky, and it's not US I guess development as far as new technology is concerned, and it's a UFO, like an unidentified flying object, then of course it means that we leave it at that, because you could be skeptical and there's nothing wrong with that, because if you can't identify it, then we cannot say it's an alien, because if you have no experience of it, then why are we calling it alien? We're just labeling it that. And I get that, but when you think of it this way, I look at my life and I say I am in close proximity with the demonic. And the demonic have always helped me to appreciate, to question everything. Even when I am being, spoken to by these demonic, they themselves help me to even question what they tell me. Because that is really how you learn, is when you arrive at the answer yourself. Either it be right or wrong, you'll know eventually, because you'll either add something to what you already believe in, or you'll take it away. But I realized that by doing research and trying to do the best I can, I realized that from my personal experiences and by doing research, I realized that I could no longer hide in the closet, if you will, or I could just follow mainstream, let's say, history by saying that mankind just evolved spontaneously. There has to be some extraterrestrial, some intelligent beings behind it in order for us to evolve, especially if you compare ourselves to the great apes as far as the chromosomes are concerned. Because if you look at the human chromosomes and then the great apes, there's a difference. So it's not like you could just what is it, bestiality, you have sex with an animal and then you could produce an ape. That's not how it works. There has to be some sort of similarities, between the chromosomes. Like a horse and a donkey, they will produce a hybrid, which is the mule. And this mule is not as skittish as a horse, and it would be the hybrid of the two life forms that created it, and therefore you would have like this hybrid mule, this animal that could get the job done with a greater capacity than the horse and the donkey. You get what I'm trying to say? Because it's animal husbandry. It's really how you manipulate the DNA. So if you could see how human beings have done animal husbandry and they've manipulated, let's say, just animals, then you could see where the whole idea of aliens coming to our planet and manipulating our DNA is not that far-fetched. We can at least consider. You don't have to believe it, but you can at least consider and go, well, there's truth to that, There is truth to that. And we're not saying it is, exactly that, but it is food for thought. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I thought, the whole ideas of just talking about aliens it's actually very interesting to talk about, because it goes back to what I said in the beginning about the JOS. You see, many years ago, learning from that particular group in the Yahoo forum, I learned so much. It wasn't all bad. Even now, when I connect with, let's say, Satan, I may sound crazy when I say this, and yeah, maybe I'm a little crazy, and I don't mind that. But I realized that even Satan came to me one day and said, I am an alien. Now, I'm not saying that he is advocating to the fact that he is an alien, quote unquote, but it's one of those things where it's like, I could sense the direction and where he's coming from, because honestly speaking, he's inhuman. He's not human. So therefore, you could see where he's coming, in that direction, because you have to realize by him saying that, he's not telling me now all of a sudden drop the occult, drop, the left-hand path and believe in aliens. No, he's not, because there's been many times that he directed me even to atheism, to learn about how to learn about epistemology, learn about how to have good evidence and bad evidence. You probably like myself, where I listen to Matt Dillahunty, the Atheist Experience, and I look at that show to prove to myself that how I'm able to look at what it is that I believe in, and I could remain to be up to date. But it doesn't change my beliefs per se. Now, I know that's still confusing to other people, because they're not, perhaps they're still in that dualistic point of view where white has to go against black, up has to go against down, women have to go against men. But in a non-dualistic way, on how I view the world, I've always viewed it that way. I've always viewed it as everyone coming together, because I feel that we're all connected somehow. Either it's here on this beautiful blue planet to other species outside of this beautiful blue planet. Because in other planets, I'm not saying all aliens outside of Earth are good. You have good species as well as bad species of aliens, just like here on Earth. You see, by looking at it in a non-dualistic way, I start to realize that I could at least consider a different point of view, and not just look at it just on the LHP or the left-hand path, or a satanic point of view, or a Luciferian point of view. I could enjoy and learn and love other points of views, either it be paganism, which I don't mind. I think what I am, if you think about it, is still considered paganism, because it's a broad umbrella, and I still fall underneath that, because sadly, when you are a dualist, you're not going to look at the wicked and go, oh, they are wicked. No, you're going to look at them and you're going to hate on them and think that they are a Satanist or a Luciferian, because they too wear black and they pray to the horn god and the feminine divine, and either they are the Wiccan, the type of Wiccan that could be into herbs and remedies, and they could believe in earth spirits and so forth. And they can still hate on that and demonize that. The common denominator is the fact that no matter what I do, I'm going to be demonized. So even if I go back to Christianity, right, they're going to hate me there too, and still try to demonize me there as well. Because how many sects there are in Christianity? You have Calvinism that believes in predestination, and they believe, just that things are preordained. And then you have Catholics, and then you have Protestant, and then they have this different point of view of Christianity, and then they go at it. It's not me bashing Christianity, it's just me simply observing it and saying, well, if they are having this conflict with one another, hopefully they work it out, but they have a conflict and one is demonizing the other. So I'm not going to be safe even if I run back to Christianity. So no matter what I do, if I'm going to be demonized, then I might as well be demonized by something that I love, and I know that there's no going back for me, and I don't mind dying for. You know what I mean? It's not like I want to die. It's more like, if I do die, I know that I'm going to take what I believe to the grave. Especially if I'm not saying that you better believe in aliens. No, I'm saying there's a probability that, based off of what I have bear witness to, in connection with, other individuals that have seen and experienced and have wrote a book and are, just known scientists, they have done their part, just like I am, by putting the information out there. And I'm not saying as well that just because I'm making this video, or I mention Mr. Willis, or I mention Mr. Carl Sagan, it means therefore I'm correct. No, because life is not that simple. It's very complex. I realize that people like myself, I'm going to be bashed and hated for the things that I believe in, because that's not the intellectia of the world. That's not the academia of the world. I think of Carl Sagan, and I realize, he doesn't have it easy, because he would have been, demonized in the 1960s. Because if he's a scientist and he's putting forth the possibility of other life forms, I could only realize how people are treating him in that field. Oh, he's just a pseudoscientist. You know what I mean? So it's like, no matter what you do, I'd rather be very authentic. That's why I said that if you want to continue with my journey here on YouTube, please, let's reach that 1,000 subscribers. I want to do those shorts, those YouTube shorts, where I could not just record myself in a 20-30 minute video, but a short video, or there's a community, and as a family of this YouTube channel of We Are Gods, we're able to communicate with one another, because I love what I do as an occultist, as a black magician that deals with, in particular, black magic. Now, even though we categorize ourselves as far as black magician, white magician, green magician, whatever, I know magic itself doesn't have a color. Magic is magic. Magic is our life all around us. We're all connected. So, therefore, when I think about all this, I'm like, it is so fucking amazing to realize that when I saw these lights in the sky and its formation, and it just dawned on me that if there's a possibility, then I'm gonna go with it. And I tried to allude to it earlier, that when Satan said that he is a alien, you have to realize, when I felt his words, the weight of it, and things of that nature, because I'm really good at dream interpretation, and I'm really good at being clairsentient and feeling what he's saying. He's not, even though he said it, I could see behind his words, he's not saying it as if he is, but he wants me to conclude for myself what he's trying to express to me. And being the fact that I'm trying to weigh it out, that's why I'm making this video. Because within that dream, I saw myself looking up at this huge bird. It's a statue of a huge gray image of a bird, a statue, and it had like a sun on its back. It reminded me, and I know I'm going to botch this, but I'm going to put it on somewhere on this video, about Zoroastrianism. Try to pronounce that. It's like, try saying that 10 times fast. But the Egyptians also borrowed that sign of the bird, and then you have like the sun like on top of it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, Satan is really trying to connect, and that's the key word. He's trying to connect, and I'm trying to decode it for myself, hence making this video. Because if you think about the possibilities of the Anunnaki, Anunnaku, or Anunnakim, and different ancient religions and cultures out there, either if you're Hebrew, then you're going to say it in your own language, and it's going to be the Nephilim. If you're Greek, then it's going to be the Titans, right? You get it? Every culture in their own way had described these ancient beings that came before you and I, human beings on this planet, and a war broke out. There were ones who wanted to keep us dumb, to serve them, and then there's another group that did not want that. They want us to be like this channel. We are gods. They wanted us to be more than the common animal or a great ape. They wanted us to learn to farm, to educate ourselves, and things of that nature. And when you think about each culture in their own legends doing that, then where am I going wrong with this? I'm not saying that what I'm saying is 100% accurate, but at least I'm trying to look at the connection, and I'm saying there is still some truth to what Satan is telling me, because it's not all wrong. You can still learn something from it. It's just up to you to see how you interpret it and how things are going to be, with you. And I would say, like, as I continue to learn, then I I'll share it with you, and you too could write down below in the comment section about your intergalactic experience, the planets that you probably astral project yourself to, and so forth and so forth. So that's about it for this video. I thank every single one of you by subscribing, viewing this video, and enjoying my content. Thank you so very much. I love every single one of you. Better believe that. Please stay with me, and let's try to make the end of this year to be 1,000 subscribers, because again, I want to make this full time. I want to continue doing this. It's not like I wasn't in the beginning, but I know for sure this is what I want to do now, even more so because of all my experiences. So guys, check me back in my next video. I love every single one of you. I say it again because it's being very authentic and I'm being real. And thank you. Have a very beautiful day. Hail Satan. Bye.